Welcome to Driving at SATX. I gotta say, I'm truly humbled by all the subscribers that have joined us, and it just blows my mind a little bit how quickly we got to over 1,800. I appreciate every one of you. Let's get to this. On this day, heading south on 35, the traffic was a little less lighter than light. The passing lane eventually has enough traffic in it that the ability to actually pass someone becomes lost. The driver of this car becomes impatient with the situation and jumps over into the next lane. As we're no longer passing, once I have a clearance, I move into this lane as well. Then this driver moves left into the middle lane, but does this with less than enough space for this to be safe. I agree this wasn't a wise move, but this driver's reaction isn't much better. They really should have just slowed down. I wouldn't have been mad at a honk either at this point, but slowing down since this car was coming over no matter what would have been the safest reaction. However, jumping over into this lane and now doing to this truck what this car did to him makes both of these moves equally stupid. Now, once he's in this lane, he's creating danger for this driver as well as himself, as he's too close to this truck for safety. And all this just to drive next to each other with no other options. People, the possible consequences are not worth driving this carelessly. Here I just so happened to observe this truck approach the light as it was turning red, then hit the gas instead of coming to a complete stop. Okay, I know. This doesn't look like a big deal at all, right? There were no cars coming, it really didn't create any danger, but this is more to help anyone who hasn't learned this the hard way yet. Some days, sometimes, some police officers are just looking for a reason to pull someone over. And this right here is giving them a reason on a silver platter. If they see you do this, they can pull you over, and if they choose to go ahead and give you a citation, this little maneuver that doesn't look like a big deal can cost a couple of $100. And it would be really stupid to incur that kind of penalty just to cross this bridge, go half a block, and sit and wait at another red light. Southbound on 35, just passing 1604, traffic is starting to build up, and suddenly the car in front of me slows down quite a bit and stays on the brakes for a bit. The driver moves into the passing lane and unveils our subject. This driver is actually stuck behind a slower driver. However, this lady seems to be terrified of all her surroundings. As she tries to make her way around the car, she hits the brakes repeatedly, then signals to move over, but is immediately intimidated out of that decision by the approaching pickup. She then signals to move to the right, but the car that's actually 2 lanes over is enough to also intimidate her out of this as well. She chooses not to signal or do anything at this point, so I decide to make my way around her now that there's a clearing to do so. I can't blame someone for being afraid if that is the case, but it really isn't safe to bring that much fear driving a vehicle on the roads and the highways. I know that sometimes when we stop at someone's house, it's just for a moment. Maybe we need to drop someone or something off, or maybe a pickup instead. Sometimes it only takes a few seconds and we're on our way again. But no matter how short the visit may or may not be, please don't make your parking spot in the middle of the damn street, especially when there's plenty of space to park your car out of the way so nobody has to wait for you to move when they come along. Turning onto the northbound access road of 35 in front of this gas station, I'm stopping it here to introduce our subject, this big rig driver. He's coming out of the gas station, and of course, just like anyone else, he should yield to all traffic that's already on the street. I signal to move over, and as he approaches the street, if he's looking, which, why wouldn't he would see me coming here clear as day. But after assessing his situation, this was the choice that he made. This guy has been awarded an official membership card of the POS Club, I can assure you that. We all know there are too many drivers that think the first few seconds of a red light don't count, or that think when it turns yellow it means to speed up rather than slow down. But on the flip side, and probably more frustrating than those examples, are people who sit at red lights and forget what the objective is here. You know how people say you had one job? Well, when you're stopped at a red light, the only job you have is to wait for the light to turn green. If it turns green and you don't see it, what the hell are you doing here? Here we are in Walsham, heading toward 35 from Austin Highway. There's generally a lot of traffic that comes through here, and there's a light at the highway along with some tracks. So it's very common to find yourself at an intersection while waiting for this light. You're not supposed to block an intersection because it prevents drivers from being able to go through here if they need to, like this one does. Once this car stops here and makes it clear that they need to turn, the driver of the white car does what they can to get out of the way. Now, there is room to move into this lane here, but it looks like this car is needing to turn left ahead because they aren't utilizing this space. Once this car is able to turn, we still have to wait a bit longer for the light. Then when it changes, watch what this car does. Jeez. Here we are at the same light from a couple of clips ago where the other car was unaware of the green light. This makes me wonder if there's some kind of trance this lane puts you in when you get here, because here's another one and this one is worse. Now when I get to this red light, these cars have already been waiting here for a minute. I don't know about you, but I'm never just content with sitting at a light. I'm ready to get on my way and I'm anxiously waiting for a chance to go. Then, once I'm sitting here, it still takes a bit for the light to turn green. Despite that, the lady in this car has completely forgotten that the light exists, and to be honest, I'm not sure where her head was. I'm gonna set up a timer here, and when the light turns green, watch this. After 15 seconds, the turn lane gets an arrow and we immediately begin to move. I would think this would trigger her to snap out of it, but nope, she stays right there into the next red light cycle. Here's another chance to help out some people who haven't learned this lesson the hard way yet. The maintenance of your car is going to cost money. There's no avoiding this, but it is possible to have some control over that cost by the way you drive. I've touched on this with brakes in a couple of other videos, but I see this way too much. Use your brakes when you need to, but so many drivers use them when there's no logical reason to do so. Take this driver for example. This driver is needing to get off at the next exit, but the way the driver goes about this is strange. I'm stopping it here to point out the exit that the driver's wanting to take. Then I'm stopping it here to show you the mistake. There's plenty of room before the exit, and there's plenty of room between them and the next vehicle that brakes are just not needed here. While slowing down is ideal, this particular situation will allow for the driver to simply let off the gas and coast for a bit. What's that, you say? I don't necessarily have to be pressing the gas or the brake while on the road? No, you don't. You can slightly slow down by letting off the accelerator. If you have plenty of room like this, it really is the best thing to do for more than one reason. Driving down 35 South again, and I want to point out this car. This is the root of the problem. I don't want to not mention this because someone will be sure to point it out in the comments. But this driver needs to get out of the passing lane. There is nobody to pass here, and there is a car directly behind them that would probably like a chance to pass. As you can tell, this driver is one of those passing lane challenge drivers that we see so many of around here, and does not plan on getting out of the way anytime soon. This causes the driver of this Audi to get frustrated and hit the gas to go around them, but he does so before activating a signal or checking to make sure that the coast was clear. Now, we've identified two drivers who are part of the problem. How some of these people got permission to drive these vehicles, I just don't know. And yep, I've had enough for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Till next time, stay safe out there, San Antonio. Let's do better on these roads.